Humanity had never seen anything like it. The sky above Earth shimmered with strange lights as the massive alien ship hovered silently in orbit. Its surface reflected the sun in fractured patterns, giving it the appearance of a giant crystal floating in space. No nation could claim it. No defense system could touch it. It was a mystery, and humanity knew immediately that this was the moment their species would be tested. Commander Elias, a seasoned officer of the United Earth Space Force, stood at the observation deck of the orbital command station. His eyes narrowed as the ship emitted a soft hum that seemed almost alive. "Report," he said, his voice steady but tinged with tension. Lieutenant Mara, his second-in-command, tapped a few controls. "Sensors show that the ship is not just orbiting. It is actively scanning Earth's communications, energy grids, and defense satellites. There's no conventional propulsion. It seems to respond to human activity." Before Elias could reply, the ship's surface shimmered and formed a doorway-like projection. A figure stepped out, projected as if in the air itself. It was humanoid in shape, but clearly alien. Her form was precise, almost too perfect, like a simulation brought to life. She wore a uniform that seemed to shift subtly in color, moving between shades of silver and deep violet. Her expression was unreadable, yet her presence filled the room. "I am your guide and judge," her voice chimed, smooth and musical yet commanding. "I am the Xylar Maid. You, humans, have reached a crossroads. Your species will either be tested or guided into subjugation. It is your choice." The room fell silent. Elias took a deep breath. "We are willing to participate in your tests. Tell us what we must do." The Xylar Maid's lips curved slightly, almost like a smile. "Do not misunderstand. You will not merely follow instructions. You will prove your worth through intelligence, courage, and ingenuity. Fail, and your world will be marked. Succeed, and you may rise among the stars as equals." Elias felt a chill. The stakes were beyond comprehension. Yet a spark of pride flared within him. Humans had always been underestimated, and now, for the first time, the galaxy was watching. "The first test," the Xylar Maid continued, "will not be physical alone. You will face challenges that test your mind, your reflexes, and your capacity to adapt. This is your first trial, a simulation of a cosmic labyrinth. You will navigate it using strategy, teamwork, and ingenuity. Only one group may enter at a time." Elias exchanged a glance with Mara. "We'll do it," he said firmly. "Select our team." The Xylar Maid's projection shifted, showing a glowing console with names and ranks. Elias quickly chose a team: Mara, a communications specialist named Liu, a physicist called Dr. Amari, and an engineer, Jonas. "This team has diverse skills," Elias explained. "If we are going to succeed, we need every perspective working together." As the team prepared, the projection flickered. "Your team will be transported to the labyrinth. Do not assume the laws of physics will be as you know them. Adaptation is key. Remember, obedience is not submission, it is learning." With a sudden flash, the team found themselves inside the labyrinth. The walls were smooth, reflective, and faintly iridescent. The air had a slight hum, almost like electricity, and the floor seemed to shift subtly under their feet. Jonas frowned. "It's alive somehow. The structure reacts to us." Dr. Amari nodded. "It's as if it's scanning our thoughts, our movements, and adjusting accordingly. We need to stay ahead or it will trap us." The first corridor split into 3 paths, each marked with floating symbols that shimmered as the team approached. Mara stepped forward, scanning the symbols. "They're not just symbols, they're patterns. I think each path will react differently depending on how we move. We need to think carefully." Elias took charge. "We'll split tasks. Mara, analyze patterns. Liu, monitor energy fluctuations. Jonas, look for structural weaknesses. Amari, consider theoretical paths. We move together, but focus on your area." They advanced cautiously. The walls pulsed as if responding to their presence. Every step triggered new patterns of light, creating illusions of endless corridors. At one point, the floor beneath Mara rippled, forming a mirror-like surface that reflected multiple versions of her. She froze for a second, then shook her head. It's testing our perception. Ignore the illusions, focus on the symbols. Hours seemed to pass, though it could have been minutes. The team faced gravity shifts, sudden walls, and energy barriers that required synchronized movement. Each challenge tested a different human skill, problem-solving, coordination, and even emotional control. Throughout it all, the Xylar Maid's voice echoed. Do you understand yet? Obedience is not about following blindly. It is about perceiving the rules and mastering them. Adapt, survive, learn. Elias realized she was right. They weren't just navigating a maze, they were learning to think like the Xylar, to anticipate reactions, and to work as one. Humanity's strength was not just in power or knowledge. It was in flexibility, creativity, and resilience. At one point, the team faced a large chamber filled with floating orbs, each emitting a low hum. Touching the wrong orb triggered energy spikes, while the correct sequence would open the next passage. Mara, combining observation and intuition, noticed subtle vibrations in the air. The orbs react to our focus, she explained. It's not about force, it's about understanding. Following her lead, the team synchronized their actions. Slowly, carefully, they activated the correct orbs. The hum intensified, then abruptly stopped as a door shimmered into existence. They had passed the first major test. The Xylar Maid's projection appeared, floating before them. Her expression seemed approving, impressive. You are beginning to understand. Humanity's strength lies not in blind obedience, but in discerning patterns, in cooperation, in courage. Your species may yet surprise us. Elias allowed himself a small smile. Thank you, but I assume there's more to come. Indeed, the maid replied. The labyrinth was merely the beginning. You will face tests that challenge your empathy, your strategy, and your moral judgment. Only through these trials will your true worth be revealed. Jonas let out a deep breath. So this is just a warm-up, Amari chuckled. At least we survived the warm-up. Let's not get overconfident. The team regrouped, sharing observations. They realized that every challenge revealed a simple truth. Humans were strongest when they trusted each other, thought creatively, and refused to panic under pressure. Elias turned to them, his voice firm. Listen, what we're doing is bigger than survival. We're showing the universe what humanity can do. This isn't just a test, it's our chance to prove that we are a force to be reckoned with. Stick together, stay focused, and remember what we've learned. As they moved forward, the walls of the labyrinth shimmered, signaling the next challenge. The team felt a mix of anticipation and excitement. Humanity's ingenuity had carried them this far, but they knew the Xylar would push them harder. Outside, the alien ship floated silently above Earth, observing, calculating, and perhaps learning. And somewhere inside, the Xylar Maid considered the humans' performance. They were unpredictable, resilient, and clever. Exactly the kind of beings that could survive, thrive, and one day, astonish the galaxy. For Elias and his team, Part 1 of humanity's ultimate trial had ended. They had not only navigated a labyrinth of alien design, but they had begun to understand the true nature of the Xylar challenge. Obedience was not submission, it was mastery, and mastering it would be humanity's first step toward becoming a force the stars could not ignore. The door ahead shimmered open, and a new path appeared, stretching into unknown challenges. The team stepped forward together, ready to face whatever the Xylar had prepared next. The adventure had only just begun. The labyrinth's next path was unlike anything the team had encountered. The walls were no longer smooth or reflective. Instead, they shifted constantly, forming new corridors with every step. Gravity seemed to pull in unpredictable directions, and faint pulses of energy ran along the floor like electric rivers. The team paused, taking a collective breath. This is more complicated than the first section, Jonas muttered. It feels alive. Every move we make changes the layout. Elias nodded. Exactly. We can't just react. We have to anticipate. Think like the labyrinth, not just like humans. Dr. Amari adjusted her visor, scanning the energy flows. These pulses, they follow patterns. It's almost like the labyrinth is testing our ability to recognize and predict them. If we fail, we get trapped, or worse. Mara took a deep breath. Then we have to work as one. I'll call out the patterns. Jonas, you and Lou handle navigation. Elias and I will figure the energy interactions. Ready? The team moved cautiously into the first shifting corridor. Immediately, the floor tilted, forcing them to balance carefully. Panels of light flickered along the walls, and doors appeared and disappeared within seconds. Each choice of direction seemed to influence the structure itself. This is like a living puzzle, Lou said, adjusting her gloves to scan the surfaces. It reacts to our intentions. If we hesitate, it can trap us in loops. Elias kept the team focused. Then we act decisively. Trust each other. Trust the signals. They progressed through a series of twisting corridors facing gravity reversals that made the ceiling into a floor and energy barriers that required precise timing to pass. At one point, a wall extended rapidly, nearly pinning Jonas. He leapt sideways, landing safely, and the group cheered quietly. You're starting to see it, aren't you? The Xyler Maid's voice echoed softly through the shifting walls. This is more than a test of strength or intellect. It is a test of perception, unity, and resilience. Humans are curious. Elias frowned slightly. Curious isn't enough. We have to excel. Follow the patterns, respect the rules, and innovate where needed. That's how we survive. Soon, the labyrinth presented a new challenge. A vast chamber filled with levitating platforms of different shapes and sizes, floating over a glowing abyss. Each platform emitted a faint hum. Some were stable. Others shifted or vanished when stepped upon. The team would need to coordinate carefully to cross safely. Mara stepped onto the first platform and signaled. It's stable for one step. Wait for the hum to synchronize, then move. The team advanced in turn, timing each leap with precision. At one point, a platform beneath Lou tilted suddenly, almost dropping her into the abyss. Quick reflexes and team support saved her. Almost lost you there, Jonas said, gripping her hand. Not yet, Lou replied, determination in her eyes. We can do this. As they neared the center of the chamber, the platforms began to respond differently. Colors shifted, patterns altered, and pulses accelerated. It was now a test of adaptability. One wrong move could send them back to the beginning, or worse. Elias realized the solution. We're thinking linearly. This isn't a straight path. The platforms respond to our movement patterns. We need to move together as one rhythm. Dr. Amari nodded, like a dance, each step in harmony with the others. The team synchronized their movements, focusing on timing, balance, and coordination. Slowly, carefully, they made it across. When they stepped onto the final platform, it glowed brightly and a doorway appeared, shimmering like liquid metal. You see, the Xyler Maid's voice said, humans have ingenuity. They do not merely react. They create solutions. They learn. They adapt. This is rare. The next area was more cerebral. A large chamber contained a holographic map of a distant star system. Floating symbols hovered over each planet, and glowing threads connected them in intricate webs. The challenge was clear. Recreate the threads in the correct configuration to unlock the next stage. Mara approached the hologram. These threads, they respond to logic but also to intuition. We can't just calculate. We need to understand the relationships, the balance between elements. Elias studied the map. Think of it as a network. Each planet influences the others. We need to stabilize the system by arranging the threads properly. If we misplace one, the system collapses. The team worked in silence, coordinating actions. Jonas adjusted energy conduits. Dr. Amari recalculated patterns. Lou monitored the hologram's response, and Mara led the alignment. Elias oversaw the process, ensuring each decision was deliberate and precise. Hours seemed to pass, but finally the threads snapped into place. The hologram brightened, then dissolved, revealing another shimmering passage. The Xyler Maid appeared before them. Her expression, once neutral, now carried a hint of admiration. You are progressing faster than expected. The labyrinth teaches not by force but by guidance. You have begun to perceive the patterns, Understand the rules and use them to your advantage. Humanity may yet reach potential beyond expectation. Elias allowed himself a small smile. We're learning fast, but I'm not letting my guard down. This is far from over. The team moved forward into the next corridor, which opened into a vast chamber filled with mirrored walls. Each reflection seemed to distort reality. Some showed multiple versions of the team, while others twisted the corridor into impossible angles. This must be the perception test, Mara said. We have to distinguish reality from illusion. Elias nodded. Focus on what is consistent. Trust your instincts and each other. Do not let the maze manipulate your mind. They navigated carefully, cross-checking positions, calling out observations, and supporting each other through the confusing reflections. At one point, a reflection of Jonas stepped forward independently, creating a trap. Jonas lunged forward, touching the reflection, and it shattered harmlessly. Looks like they want us to confront illusions directly, Dr. Amari observed, not avoid them. After meticulous navigation, the team reached the chamber's exit. A warm light bathed them as the final door of the section shimmered open. The Xyler Maid appeared once more. You are learning, humans. Obedience is not submission. It is recognition. Recognition of patterns, understanding, and collaboration. You are demonstrating qualities rarely seen in other species. Elias exhaled. We've survived the challenges so far, but I know the hardest tests are ahead. They're always the ones that test character, not just skill. The maid's projection tilted her head. Indeed, the trials ahead will test your judgment, your morality, and your courage. Only by balancing intellect and empathy will you succeed. Few species ever reach this stage. Jonas let out a slow breath. I never thought I'd say this, but I respect them. These tests, they make us better. Mara smiled faintly. Exactly. They're not trying to destroy us. They're challenging us to see ourselves clearly. The team moved toward the next chamber, stronger as a unit. They had learned to adapt, think creatively, and trust each other under pressure. Humanity's strength was becoming evident, not in raw power, but in the ability to work together, innovate, and persevere. The Xyler Maid's voice echoed one last time before they entered the chamber. Remember, humans, the tests are not just obstacles. They are mirrors. What you show here, what you do together, will define your place in the galaxy. Learn wisely, adapt boldly, survive honorably. As the team stepped forward, the chamber shimmered and changed, presenting a new environment, a sprawling field of energy nodes connected by invisible currents. The next challenge awaited, demanding strategy, speed, and coordination on an even larger scale. Elias looked at his team, determination in his eyes. This is humanity's moment. Let's show them what we're made of. And with that, they advanced, stepping into the unknown, ready to face the trials that would define their civilization's future among the stars. The new chamber was unlike anything the team had seen before. Instead of walls, the room opened to a vast expanse of floating platforms, each suspended over a glowing void. Energy nodes pulsed above the platforms, connected by thin streams of light that shifted constantly, forming a complex web. This is massive, Jonas whispered. How are we supposed to navigate this? Elias studied the patterns carefully. It's not just navigation. It's a puzzle. Every platform, every node reacts to our choices. We have to move strategically, predict the changes, and work as a single unit. One mistake could force us back to the start. Mara nodded. The nodes seem to respond to energy. If we touch the wrong sequence, the platforms shift and we could fall. But if we work together, we can stabilize the currents. Dr. Amari leaned closer to one of the nodes. It's like a living network. We need to balance the flow. Too much weight on one side and it collapses. Too little, and we can't progress. This is a test of coordination, logic, and foresight. The Xyler Maid's voice echoed around them, calm and melodic. This stage examines humans' ability to collaborate and foresee consequences. Few species can achieve harmony under such pressure. Will your kind succeed? Elias took a deep breath. We don't have a choice but to succeed. Let's divide responsibilities. Mara, you guide timing. Liu, monitor the energy currents. Jonas, adjust the platforms with me. Dr. Amari, calculate the sequences. We move together. The team advanced onto the first platform, It hummed lightly under their feet but held steady. As Mara signaled, Liu adjusted the energy stream, stabilizing the platforms ahead. Elias and Jonas used their strength and balance to anchor the moving sections, while Dr. Amari calculated the best route. Step by step, they moved forward. Each node they touched caused new patterns to appear, demanding constant adjustment and quick thinking. One misstep sent a ripple through the network, forcing them to pause and reassess. "This is more than physical skill," Liu said. "It's teamwork, observation, and anticipation. We have to think 3 steps ahead." Elias glanced at his team. "And we're doing it. Every time the network shifts, we adapt. That's humanity's strength. We can learn and adjust faster than most species." Halfway through, the platform suddenly shifted dramatically. An energy pulse surged through the nodes, and the floating sections began to move unpredictably. Some tilted, others sank, and a few rotated. The team had to act quickly to maintain balance. "Hold positions," Elias shouted. "Do not panic. Adjust to the movement." Mara guided the timing of each step. "Now! Move together!" With perfect synchronization, the team crossed the most dangerous section. The Xylar Maid's voice sounded again, tinged with something resembling admiration. "Humans demonstrate ingenuity and coordination. Most species would fail under such unpredictability. You are remarkable." The team exhaled, realizing that the challenge was not just to survive but to show their ability to understand, plan, and act in harmony. But the labyrinth was far from over. The next trial was not physical, it was moral and strategic. The chamber ahead projected holographic simulations of alien worlds. Each world was facing crises, some threatened by natural disasters, others by internal conflict. The team saw that the simulation required them to make difficult decisions. They could prioritize saving one world over another, or find a solution to protect all, but it would require careful planning and compromise. Dr. Amari frowned. "This isn't just a puzzle. It's testing our judgment. If we favor one world over another, the simulation punishes us." Elias stepped forward. "Then we need to think like humanity. We don't sacrifice for convenience. We find ways to save as many as we can, even if it's more difficult." Mara examined the holograms. "Some crises are connected. If we stabilize one, it may help another. We need to find patterns, dependencies, and work efficiently. This is strategy and empathy combined." Liu pointed to a world at risk of collapse. "If we act here first, the effects will cascade positively, but we'll have less time for the other worlds." Elias considered carefully. "Then we split responsibilities. Dr. Amari, you handle simulations of environmental crises. Liu, manage communications and energy stabilization. Jonas and I will address structural conflicts. Mara, coordinate the timing for all actions. We must think as a unit, just like before." The team began to implement the solutions. They synchronized actions, predicted reactions, and adjusted continuously. For every crisis, they applied both logic and compassion. When a simulated planet threatened to fall into chaos, they carefully stabilized its systems without harming others. Hours passed in intense focus. The simulation responded dynamically to their choices, creating new challenges in real time. Yet every time they encountered difficulty, the team adapted. They learned to anticipate the simulation's reactions, sometimes making counterintuitive decisions that led to better outcomes. "Look," Mara said, pointing at the holograms. "The worlds are stabilizing faster than expected. Our coordinated actions are creating harmony across the system." The Xylar Maid's voice echoed once more, now calm and approving. "Your species demonstrates qualities rare in the galaxy. Logic combined with empathy. Strategy combined with compassion. Few species can act so decisively and ethically under pressure. You honor yourselves and your kind." Elias felt a swell of pride. Humanity had shown adaptability, intelligence, and moral strength. But he knew the Xylar's tests were not yet complete. The final section of the labyrinth in this stage would examine courage, trust, and leadership under uncertainty. The final room opened to a vast platform suspended over a void of glowing energy. Dozens of alien drones hovered above, monitoring every movement. In the center of the platform floated a small object, a glowing crystal, seemingly fragile, but pulsating with immense power. The challenge was clear: retrieve the crystal while avoiding detection or triggering traps. Any misstep could collapse the platform or activate the drones. Jonas gulped. This is high risk. One wrong move and we fail completely. Elias nodded. Then we rely on what has brought us this far: trust, timing, and creativity. Mara took the lead. I'll scout ahead and signal safe paths. Jonas, stabilize the platform sections. Liu, monitor drones patterns. Amari, keep track of energy flows. Elias, coordinate and decide when to move. Step by step they advanced. The drones reacted to motion, scanning for energy spikes. The team adapted, moving in careful, synchronized bursts. Each pulse of energy was calculated, each movement timed to perfection. At one point, a drone shifted rapidly toward Jonas. He froze, but Mara shouted, "Move left, now!" And Jonas leapt, using a shifted platform as leverage. The drone passed harmlessly. Finally, Elias approached the crystal. It floated mere inches above the platform, pulsating with intense energy. Reaching for it triggered a wave of energy across the platform, but the team responded quickly, stabilizing the energy flows and securing the crystal. The chamber pulsed brightly and the Xylar Maid appeared once more. Her expression, once neutral, now radiated respect. You have succeeded in this stage. Courage, trust, leadership, intelligence, and empathy. You have demonstrated all these qualities. Few species are capable of such mastery. Elias exhaled, holding the crystal carefully. We did it. Together. That's humanity's strength. We adapt, we endure, and we care. For each other, and for what's right. The team gathered around, relief and pride evident on their faces. They had overcome obstacles that seemed impossible, faced moral dilemmas, and demonstrated their unique human qualities. The Xylar Maid's voice softened, almost like a whisper. Humanity is impressive. You do not merely survive. You thrive through collaboration, thought, and heart. The final stage approaches. Only then will your true potential be revealed. Elias looked at his team. We've come this far. Whatever comes next, we face it together. We're not just surviving these tests. We're proving that humans belong among the stars. The team nodded, stepping forward toward the shimmering doorway. Behind them, the floating platforms dissolved, replaced by a corridor of soft, radiant light, leading to the final stage of this trial. They had survived the labyrinth, solved complex moral challenges, and demonstrated courage. Now humanity's ingenuity and spirit would be tested in ways even more profound. As they moved forward, the Xylar Maid's voice echoed one last time in this chamber. The end of this stage marks not the end of challenge, but the recognition of potential. Humanity is no longer just observed. You are acknowledged. Let the next trial reveal the final measure of your species' greatness. And with that, Elias and his team stepped into the unknown, ready to face the last test, a trial that would not only measure intelligence and courage, but also the very essence of humanity's spirit. The doorway ahead shimmered like liquid light, stretching upward into an impossible height. Beyond it, a vast chamber unfolded, a cosmic arena suspended in zero gravity, dotted with floating platforms, energy conduits, and radiant nodes that pulsed like the heartbeat of a galaxy. This was the final stage. The Xylar Maid's voice resonated around the chamber, calm yet commanding. This trial, she said, will determine humanity's place among the stars. Intelligence, courage, empathy, and creativity will all be tested. Success will not be achieved by strength alone, but by the true essence of your species. Elias exhaled slowly, feeling the weight of responsibility. Team, we've come this far because we've trusted each other, worked together, and thought creatively. We must continue that now. Keep focused, trust the signals, and adapt as needed. Mara nodded. The chamber reacts to our actions. Every choice we make will alter the environment. We need to move carefully but decisively. As they advanced, the floor beneath them shifted subtly, forming patterns of light that led to different nodes. Each node represented a challenge, Some required coordination, others required logic, and a few demanded moral decision-making. The Xylar Maid's voice continued, echoing from every direction. Here, humans must demonstrate their greatest qualities. Observation, collaboration, empathy, and judgment will guide your actions. Fail in one and the test resets. Succeed in all, and your species will be acknowledged as worthy. The team approached the first node. It contained a puzzle of floating shapes, each emitting faint pulses of energy. The shapes rotated, combined, and separated in patterns that were initially chaotic, but followed an underlying logic. Like before, we need to predict the patterns rather than react blindly, Dr. Amari said. Observe, anticipate, and act as one. They worked together, each member contributing their unique skills. Mara noticed subtle visual cues that hinted at the correct sequences. Jonas adjusted the floating shapes to stabilize them. Liu monitored the energy flow, and Dr. Amari calculated the necessary alignment. Elias coordinated, ensuring all actions were perfectly timed. With careful focus, they completed the first node. It glowed brightly, signaling success, and a section of the chamber shifted, revealing a more complex arrangement of nodes. "This is incredible," Liu whispered. "The chamber adapts to us. It's learning from our teamwork just as we learn from it." Elias smiled faintly. "That's the point. The Xylar want to see how we respond. Our strength is our ability to learn, adapt, and collaborate under pressure." The next node presented a different challenge, a series of suspended platforms over a void of radiant energy, each glowing with a different intensity. The platforms responded to movement, energy pulses, and timing. A misstep could reset the trial or even isolate the team in a temporary stasis field. "Step carefully," Elias instructed. "Move as one. Timing is everything." Mara guided the team's steps, calling out safe sequences. Jonas anchored unstable platforms while Liu adjusted energy nodes to stabilize others. Dr. Amari calculated optimal paths. Step by step, the team advanced. Each success increased their confidence, each failure taught them new approaches. Halfway across, a sudden pulse sent one platform spinning. Jonas nearly fell but was saved by Mara's quick reflex. "Careful," she shouted, steadying him. "Almost missed that one," Jonas said with a grin. "But we're learning faster than they anticipated." The Xylar Maid's voice echoed, almost amused. "Humans are unpredictable and clever. They do not merely survive, they improvise, they collaborate, and they persevere. Few species reach this stage with such balance." The next node was unlike the others. It projected holographic images of alien populations facing crises, some threatened by natural disasters, others by conflict. This was the ultimate test of judgment and empathy. Dr. Amari studied the images. "We must make choices here. How we act will affect these simulations. This is the moral trial. We need to balance intellect and compassion." Elias nodded. "We can't ignore any of them. Every action must consider the consequences. Let's divide responsibilities but stay connected. Communication is critical." Mara coordinated the actions, assigning tasks based on the team's strengths. Liu monitored energy flows, ensuring no system destabilized. Jonas handled structural adjustments in the simulations, while Dr. Amari calculated the outcomes of each intervention. Elias oversaw the overall strategy, making judgment calls where conflicts arose. Hours passed as the team worked tirelessly. Each decision tested their ethics, strategy, and creativity. When a simulated planet threatened to collapse, the team chose a solution that preserved the most life while stabilizing other regions. "Look," Mara said, pointing to the holograms. "Everything is balancing. The populations are stabilizing under our interventions." The Xylar Maid's voice softened, almost like a sigh of approval. "Humanity demonstrates rare qualities. Intelligence balanced with empathy, strategy executed with care, courage expressed through action. Few species have ever navigated these trials successfully." The team advanced to the final node. In its center floated a glowing crystal, larger and more radiant than any they had encountered before. It pulsed with energy as if alive. The challenge was clear: retrieve it without disturbing the surrounding energy fields. Elias studied the crystal. "We've done everything right so far. Now we need precision and coordination. One wrong move and the chamber could reset." Mara analyzed the energy flows. "We move together in perfect synchronization. I'll guide timing, Jonas and I will stabilize, Liu monitors energy. Amari calculates interference. Elias, you direct overall movement." They stepped carefully onto the platforms, moving as one unit. Every motion was deliberate. The crystal's pulses shifted in response to their presence, requiring constant adaptation. Step by step they approached it. As Elias reached out, a surge of energy radiated from the crystal, testing their coordination. The team responded instantly, adjusting positions, stabilizing platforms, and redirecting energy flows. Elias grasped the crystal and it floated safely into their control. The chamber pulsed with brilliant light, and the Xylar Maid appeared, her projection radiating respect. You have succeeded. Intelligence, courage, empathy, and ingenuity. You have demonstrated all. Few species are capable of balancing all these qualities simultaneously. Humanity is remarkable. Elias held the crystal, feeling the weight of achievement and responsibility. We did it together. That's what makes us strong. Collaboration, adaptability, and integrity. That's what defines humanity. The Xylar Maid's voice grew softer, almost like a whisper. Obedience was never submission. It was learning, adaptation, and understanding. You have mastered the trials not by following blindly, but by thinking, acting, and caring. Your species is worthy of respect among the stars. The chamber dissolved into light, and the team found themselves back aboard their own ship, holding the crystal. The Xylar ship had vanished from Earth's orbit, leaving no trace but the knowledge, technology, and confidence they had earned. Elias looked at his team. We've done more than survive. We've proven that humanity can face any challenge, adapt to any situation, and act with courage and integrity. We are ready to stand among the stars, Mara smiled. We learned from each other and we trusted ourselves. That's what made the difference, Jonas nodded. We're not just survivors. We're innovators, problem solvers, and collaborators. Humanity's greatest strength is in our spirit, Dr. Amari added, and we did it together. That's what will carry us forward no matter the challenges ahead. Liu looked at the glowing crystal, still humming faintly with energy. We've earned something more than victory. We've earned recognition. Humanity is no longer just observed. It is respected. Elias placed the crystal carefully in the command center's containment unit. Let the galaxy know what humans can do, not through force but through ingenuity, courage, and heart. The team gathered together, looking out at Earth through the viewport. The blue planet seemed smaller now but brighter. Humanity had faced a test unlike any other, and had emerged stronger, united, and worthy of admiration beyond the stars. The Xylar Maid's voice echoed one final time in their minds, calm and approving. You have succeeded, humans. Remember what you have learned. Collaboration, adaptability, and courage are your greatest strengths. These trials were not just tests. They were mirrors of your potential. Go forward and prove that humanity belongs in the galaxy. Elias exhaled, feeling both relief and pride. We have, and we will continue to do so together. As the team celebrated quietly, the crystal pulsed one last time, sending waves of knowledge and energy through their ship. Humanity had been challenged, tested, and respected. And now they were ready for anything the universe might offer. Standing tall as a civilization capable of greatness, ingenuity, and moral courage, the trials were over. But humanity's journey among the stars had only just begun.